microphone. They don't have batteries in the microphone. So yes, it's very important to be transparent about which links you're being paid for and which you aren't. Because if people don't trust your content because they think you're only saying things because you're being paid to, then they're not going to read your content. So with influencers, you will often see a combination of things that are ads and things that they are just, they will say, I'm not even being paid to do this, I just love this product. So sometimes you'll see that combination because it makes people feel like they can trust it more. So yes, affiliate programs, they are set up more like traditional advertising. There's a lot of scams when it comes to this as well. If you have, I'm sure lots of you, some of you might be influencers, but with some of you, like even if you're not, you might get lots of messages from scammers saying, we want you to be, we want to send you some of this so you can advertise our product, we think your content is great. We get so many requests like that, but generally what they will often do is ask you to pay to be sent the product with the promise of more things. And that there's a lot of scamming that goes on. But sometimes it's real. One of the things with when you have that level of choice about when you're actually negotiating with individuals. So if you have a handbag product, for example, that you want to sell, and you choose someone who you think might be a good fit for your brand. But actually, they write a very poor piece, they write a rubbish blog post, or they do a really poorly constructed social media post, or they say the wrong message about your handbag, then that's a risk that you're taking as a business. So when you're sort of handing out, when you're using affiliate programs to advertise your product, then you don't really have that much control over what appears on the page that your product is on. So they might advertise they might talk about your handbag, but at the same time they might be talking about other things that really don't align with your brand values. So those are the sort of risks that you take. If their content is your ads that you control based on paid search or on Facebook ads and things like that, you control what's said. But when you're handing over that control to an influencer or to a blog, then you don't have control over how well their ads are written, and that can dilute your brand messaging. So it's very, very important that you consider that and choose that carefully. Going back actually to display networks as well, because it's an algorithm that chooses where your ads appear, and you don't get to decide at all where your ads are appearing on the web. And sometimes, in the UK there's a newspaper called the Daily Mail, which is one of the most popular, but it's also got some very, it has a lot of people disagree with its views, and so there's like a campaign to stop people advertising on that website, and they can be sort of targeted for that. It doesn't affect their business in the slightest, I have to say. But actually, those ads they aren't saying I want to appear on that website. It's just the display network is putting them on that website. So that's another thing to consider when you're using display networks, is that you don't get to decide where your ads are appearing. They're there because that's where Google says the people that need to see your ad are. So programmatic ads are it's quite when you're asking questions. If you're asking questions about this, don't ask me about the ins and outs of how this works, because it's kind of magic. It's very complicated. But they're created, programmatic ads are created by the brand, managed via AI. They're automated, targeted. And this has been happening for a very long time. It's AI is not new. It's just that things like ChatGPT are new. So these can be very, very efficient for a business. The process is totally automated. You as a business don't need to do any research about where the ads are placed. What you pay is automatically calculated. There's a very wide range of places to advertise, and you obviously get lots and lots of analysis about how it's working. So programmatic technology targets key audiences, uses all the customer data that kind of exist, but what they did, so with this ad, this campaign, for example, Lacoste, or anyone doing a programmatic ad campaign, they really segment their customers. They do a lot of work. So Google will decide where it all appears after Lacoste has done all of the segmenting, working out who their audience is, the different parts of their audience, wanting to decide how they're going to show people an ad for the first time, what ad someone will see for the first time, but also what ad they'll see after going to their website and not doing anything. Then they might see a different ad, or when they've gone to a particular social media platform, they will, after taking an action, basically what programmatic ad does is it targets and retargets customers based on who they are and their actions. So you might have gone to a website, looked at the product, and left without doing anything. Lacoste, or rather Google, it knows that, and it's been told, right, when that happens, we'll show this particular ad. So it might have a picture of that specific product. And then you can feel like you're being followed around the internet by that product. So if you've looked at a backpack, like I looked at a backpack online, and I just saw it everywhere for weeks afterwards. Every single website that I went on and on social media, I just see that same backpack. And that's programmatic ads. It's following you around the internet. So retarget, so there's targeting. Often, a lot of what you do is about targeting. It's saying, okay, if someone searches for this particular keyword, I want to show them this ad. If someone is in this particular audience bracket, I want to show them this ad. But retargeting is when you are following someone around based on their actions. So you've targeted someone. Originally, it might be with a pay-per-click ad, it might be with a social media ad, it might be with a billboard. You have targeted somebody and they visited your website, which is great, but it's not a conversion because they haven't made a purchase. So at the moment, they're still your target user, but they're not a conversion. So you could just leave it there. Be like, okay, well, there's some brand awareness, they've been to our website, that's great. But you don't want to do that. You want to retarget them. You're like, right, this person is not interested enough at the moment to buy something, but they are interested. So you're going to retarget them and show them an ad on Instagram. So they've been to your website, they've left, they go onto Instagram, boom, there's an ad for the website. That one gets their attention. They're like, oh yeah, I suppose I do want that, really. Go back to the website by clicking on the ad on Instagram and converts. It's all done using cookies. So the cookies that we have on websites, there may be specific ones called a Facebook pixel, which will, so in order to retarget somebody, you need to put a that cookie called a Facebook pixel on every page of your website that you want to target people with, so that you know whether they've been there. You can do that with Google Tag Manager very easily, or you just put a code in like the header of your website. And that's very, very powerful, and that's why it happens. That's why you see those ads following you around all the place, because targeting is one thing, but it's absolutely just the first stage in a campaign. So retargeting can lead to more conversions. You also might see very specific things. So things like if somebody again has abandoned their shopping cart, you might see something that says forgotten something. So we talked about that in email marketing as well. So there are a couple of ways to do it. They might get an email saying you've left this in your basket, but also you might see an ad that specifically says that. Does anyone here use like incognito mode on browsers? So on Chrome you can go into incognito mode, yes. That is a way to try and avoid these ads. Somehow they sometimes seem to break through though, I have to say. It's not perfect, but yes. That's one of the only things that really the incognito mode kind of works for. So the advantages of paid search, all of these sort of different formats of paid search, is that you are targeting the right people at the right time, either based on what they're searching for or their demographics, the profile information that people have on them, and they can be created very, very quickly. They can get out there very, very quickly. So if you were having an event and you wanted to advertise to people that day, you can do that, and then you can take it back down again. Sometimes people don't take it back down again, and it can be very annoying when you can see adverts, promotions that have ended. Big disadvantages though, and this is why someone might use incognito mode so they don't get targeted. It can be very annoying. When you see that backpack following you around the internet just because you looked at it briefly, it can be very, very annoying being targeted. And when you have that feeling as well of, how does it know what I'm thinking? Users don't always appreciate that. It's kind of a risk that you take. Contributes to a relevance score for brands and social media like Facebook. This is what I should have put a note for that one. I'll come back to that. Yes, you don't have control. Apart from the keyword search, where you do, on a pay-per-click, when you have control over keywords, but when it comes to display ads that focus on the people rather than the words that they're using, you don't have that control. And this is something that is a disadvantage for users of paid search, and the more ads that are spam and clickbait that there are, the less people are going to trust your ads, which are obviously going to be genuine. You're doing this as a premium, so you're going to be creating very good, responsible digital marketing. But yes, the more ads that are spam and clickbait, the more ads that take you to an untargeted landing page, the more annoying it is. It affects everyone who is using those ads. So what you want as a business is for every other business to be using these ads responsibly as well. So as part of your wider marketing activity, all of it really fits into a very, like you can't just have like an ad team, right? This team is going to set up ads, and then this team is going to do the website, and then this team is going to do social media. They all need to be part of the wider marketing strategy and the understanding of that customer journey that we looked at over the last couple of days. So to be able to use remarketing and retargeting properly, so remarketing and retargeting are basically the same thing, just different words for the same thing. You need to use it effectively and to be able to create a really successful campaign, you need to really understand what customers are thinking at every part of that journey. So someone asked yesterday about whether it's always the same. It's not. It's dependent on your customers. But knowing the thought process and what message to give them once they've been to your website, left, and then onto social media is very, very important. It's having an understanding of the awareness stage, the consideration stage, and the purchase stage to make sure that you're sending them relevant content at each stage, and to know about the other material that they might be seeing, what else is on your social media at the same time, what else is on your website at the same time. So making sure that it's all part of your campaign. The other thing potentially to think about, this can also come down to users not appreciating targeting, is if you've got your email marketing team, if they set it up so someone's going to get an email, if they left something in your cart, and you're also having an ad that says if you left something in your cart, you need to make sure that those messages are aligned, so it's all part of a wider messaging strategy. Okay, that's it on paid search. I mean, it's a very big area. You're going to be doing a lot more of it over the course of your degrees, but that is just an introduction to paid search. So hopefully you feel that you have an understanding of search engine marketing and an understanding of how paid search fits into this, into pay-per-click, social media paid search, a little bit about other paid ads, and an understanding about how these fit within a wider marketing strategy. But as I say, we will be talking a lot more about strategy tomorrow. Does PPC have any weaknesses? Well, yes. For specifically pay-per-click, I think it's those potential for spam and clickbait, which are the big weaknesses. But also, depending on your industry, if you are competing in if you're in a very competitive industry like clothing, then as I said, it's going to be harder to get those returns, but which is why it needs to be part of a wider marketing strategy. So here we go. So paid search by affiliate